All right, let's talk about the term that is absolutely everywhere in tech right now: AI agents. You've heard it, I've heard it, but what does it actually mean? Are we talking about the next big thing, or is this just another hype train? Let's dive in and figure it out. When most of us hear AI agent, our brain immediately goes to the movies. We picture something like Iron Man's Jarvis, right? This seamless, all powerful assistant that just knows what you need and gets it done. It's a really cool, really powerful idea. And that question right there, that's the whole ball game. See, we're all used to chatbots like ChatGPT. They're amazing content machines. You ask a question, they spit out an answer. But an AI agent, well, that's a totally different beast. It's not about talking about doing something, it's about actually doing it. So, to really get a grip on this, let's start with that big dream. What's the vision that has so much money and brain power pouring into this idea? Let's talk about the promise of the ultimate AI assistant. Okay, first things first, we need to nail down a definition. And honestly, the term AI agent gets thrown around so much, it can be a little fuzzy. The idea itself has actually been around for decades, but it's the explosion of large language models that suddenly kicked this whole field into overdrive. So here's probably the easiest way to think about it. A chatbot's main job is creating content. You give it a prompt, it gives you back some text or an image. An AI agent, though, its main job is making decisions. You give it a goal, and its job is to figure out the steps to get there. It's a subtle but huge difference. And here we go with a more formal take. The word you really need to focus on is autonomously. This is not about spoon-feeding an AI instructions. It's about saying, hey, book me a trip to Paris next month, and then trusting it to figure out everything. The planning, using the right tools, the whole shebang, all on its own without you looking over its shoulder. And this isn't just theory. You've probably seen some of these names in the news. You've got Devon AI, which made waves as the quote-unquote first AI software engineer. There's AutoGPT, one of the early kind of wild open source projects. And then things like OpenAI's Operator, which is trying to be your personal web browsing sidekick. These are all real stabs at making this technology work. So the big question is, how do they do it? How do these things actually think for themselves? What's happening under the hood? I think this analogy to self-driving cars is just brilliant for understanding this. Just like a car has different levels of autonomy, we can think about AI agents in the same way. And let's be real, right now most of what we're seeing is level 2 or level 3. They can help out, but you still need a human in the driver's seat. That level 5, fully autonomous, just let it run agent, yeah, that's still pretty much science fiction for now. And this autonomy isn't just magic, right? It's all built on these really clever programming patterns. Take React, for instance. It's basically a loop. The agent reasons, I need to find a flight, then it acts by opening a travel website, and then it looks at the results to decide what to do next. It's a simple, powerful cycle. And other patterns, like reflection, even let it look back at its mistakes and learn from them. This is the stuff that gives it the power to think. Okay, so that's all the theory. But what happens when these agents leave the lab? How are they actually doing out here in the messy, complicated real world? And the short answer is, well, they're not doing nearly as well as the headlines might make you think. For all the buzz, you'd be hard-pressed to find a lot of people using these things for mission-critical work every day. We are still deep in the experimental phase. And those experiments are happening in a few key areas. The information helpfully breaks it down into about 7 types. You've got your business agents that live inside software like Salesforce. You have coding assistants, web browsing agents, even super smart customer service bots. This is where the action is right now. But here's the reality check. Researchers at Carnegie Mellon ran this fascinating study. They basically created a fake software company and gave these agents real work to do. And the number of agents that could actually complete the majority of their tasks? 0. Not 1. In a real-world setting, they completely failed. And that failure really gets to the core conflict here. You have this incredible, world-changing promise on one side, and on the other, you have these huge, very real problems that no one's quite figured out how to solve yet. So, on the hope side of the ledger, you have this massive vision. The argument is that these agents will just turbocharge our productivity. They'll take care of all the boring grunt work, and that'll free us humans up to focus on the big ideas, on creativity and innovation. But then you crash back down to earth. Because when you actually test them on real business stuff, they often just fail. They flunk basic tests, they can't handle confidential information properly, and one study literally called them terrible freelance workers. They're just not reliable enough yet. Not even close. And it all comes back to this one central promise: freeing us from the boring stuff. Imagine never having to do another expense report or manually copy-paste data between spreadsheets. That's the dream they're selling, to automate all the digital drudgery. But here's the flip side. That very same power, the ability to act on its own, is exactly what keeps the experts up at night. As AI pioneer Yoshua Bengio puts it, the scary doomsday scenarios we worry about with superintelligence, they don't happen when an AI can just talk. They happen when you give it hands, and agents are those hands. And the list of worries is long. It's not just one thing. You've got massive economic risks, like what happens to jobs. You have brand new security threats, giving hackers powerful new tools. And of course, there are huge ethical questions. And that's all on top of the simple fact that they often just don't work, sometimes getting stuck in a loop and running up a crazy bill. And to make it all even more confusing, you've got the hype machine working overtime. Gartner came up with this great term, agent washing. It's basically when companies take their old software, slap an AI agent sticker on it, and pretend it's something new and revolutionary. It just muddies the waters for everyone. So, where does that leave us? Are AI agents a dead end? Or are we just witnessing the clumsy, awkward birth of something that's going to change everything? In the end, it really does feel like we're at a fork in the road. One path leads to that amazing promise, a world of enhanced creativity and incredible economic growth. But the other path, well, that one leads to some very real dangers, like huge risks to our financial systems and our security. The stakes are just incredibly high. Which really brings us to the one question that we absolutely have to answer. We're building these things to act for us, to make decisions in our name. But when one of them inevitably screws up, who's on the hook? Is it you, the person who made it? The company that sold it? Figuring that out might just be the biggest challenge of all. Thanks for tuning in.